We're going to meet Harry, who creates really beautiful lighting, but don't call Harry a light maker. Harry creates artesian luminaries, which sounds confusing, but what he does is he incorporates creativity, his love for found objects, as well as his philosophies into each and every piece that he makes, and the result is really cool. So let's go have a look at his studio.
My name's Harry Brown. I run a little business called Ignis Inception, and I more or less make salvage-inspired art. I predominantly make lamps, but what I'll do is I'll find a piece, you know, on the side of the road or in the skip or whatever, and generally use the properties of that material to inspire the next art piece. So rather than just going down to a lamp parts supplier and just getting the materials I need, don't even look at that. I like to use things that you would never use to make a lamp.
Hi, Harry.
How you going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good,
What are you doing?
Just trying to fit out the Odette. It's one of the lamps I make based off the form of a swan.
A swan. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. So we got the curved neck, and this is, of course,
This is
the
just
head.
insulators, and
Like from up in, like electrical insulators.
that's it, yeah. So they just screw on to the end
That's
of
so
the
cool.
power line, and they pass the cables above and below so it wouldn't short out on the line when it was wet and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
And you get these amazing colours. It depends on the ash content in there. So
Yeah.
as it's exposed to the sun, it changes through greens and purples and all that sort of
Oh,
stuff.
how
So,
gorgeous.
yeah, no, it's great.
How are you going to fit a light through there? That is the tiniest opening.
Yeah, we just use LEDs.
Do you use LEDs for all your work?
LEDs for everything.
Yeah, right.
12-volt systems only, LEDs only, and this just sort of fits in easy, plenty
snug.
of clearance. And this is a bigger one too. You can get smaller ones. You can get them to put out 1,000 lumens, which is enough to illuminate this whole warehouse.
No.
Yeah, and it's still off 12 volts.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
economical.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, much better.
The Odette sort of just happened without me really putting in much influence. And at the end of it, I thought it looked like the shape of a swan, the original Odette. It sold really quickly, and a lot of people wanted these Odettes. So I ended up making this one over here. So it's the Signet Odette. The Signet obviously being a small swan, and then the Odette is it's a name of a character from Swan Lake. And I think the properties behind that character are sort of somewhat reflective of the piece, as far as the transformation and stuff like that goes.
I love the shape of this, but I've also noticed we've got a combination of copper and possibly some gorgeous patina there. Can you show me how you use the patina to age your copper?
Definitely. A patina's basically just a form of rust. So it depends what the copper is exposed to. You can see some of the shiny bits here and duller here. That's just through the air, through general, touching and the oils off your hand. Yeah. But you can introduce different chemicals in different settings to get totally different reactions. And because copper's so reactive, same as brass and all those sort of things, you can get some really nice colours come out.
Every time you create a new patina, it's a 100% unique. It's like a snowflake. It's different every single time.
So we can just dip this guy in here. And if
Right.
you set that there, you'll see it starting to change over time. You can do things like dabbing and painting if you want to get a mottled sort of
see it
look.
changing
instead.
already.
It'll start to change. I mean, to get the full exposure, it'll take anywhere from 2 to 6 hours, depending. But come back in a couple of minutes and that'll be a nice powdery blue.
It's just amazing with the access to knowledge that we have now. We can age a piece of copper, make it look 300 years old in, an afternoon. It's unreal.
Have a look at that copper now. It's changed so much already with that patina. It's incredible.
Isn't it? Yeah.
So what's the next process with that?
So this will continue to oxidise inevitably, so we have to now stop the reaction in its place, so
okay.
that stops all the oxygen getting to it, and then we can give it a nice buff down and really bring out those colours.
So like a sealer.
Exactly, yeah.
Why don't you go and seal that? Because I want to see what it looks like when it's finished. Is that all right?
good. Easy. No worries.
Good.
I got into the lighting game initially because I grew up in rural Queensland, and my dad was a sparky and my mum was a hippie. So you get those two together, a guy who doesn't want to see another light at the end of his day, and a girl who only wants everything to be lovely and green. And yeah, I grew up with candlelight and oil lanterns and stuff like that. So coming to the city and seeing these big fluorescent sterile blue lights, I just didn't like it. So yeah, I went about making ambient lights, and it's weird. All my friends say, you know, you're the lamp maker who hates light, because I love having these nice, dull, ambient, awesome pieces.
So you're just giving it a buff now?
Yeah, so I just put on some microcrystalline wax, so it'll bring up a bit more detail and shine to it.
Oh, it does.
You'll get like a bit more of like a silky finish.
Yeah, it looks lovely. So, question, Harry, how long does it actually take to make the Odette?
So the Odette's probably going to be done within a day, but some of the other things that I do, like the Genesis and stuff like that, will take easily a week.
So the majority of pieces have some sort of story behind it, or something. I hide a fair bit of symbolism in there. It could be something private that I'm mulling over at the time and I just hide it in and no one ever knows about it. It could be something obvious and, you know, to do with the piece. But I've just always loved symbolism. I think there's a permanence in the simplicity of it. And in a way, it's a bit poetic, because it's up to the viewer to take out of it what they wish.
So tell us about this project that you're working on here, obviously in various stages.
Yeah, it was. This was a challenging one. There was a lot of trigonometry in this one because of just the nature of the build. So there was a philosophical constraint that I wanted to work around, and I ended up having to build like a custom jig to cut the right angles, and going through different techniques of how to marry all the parts together, and docking techniques, and different laminations, all that sort of stuff. And in the end, you know, this is the closest one we have, almost ready for production. And so we've got 3 different sides there, each depicting a different passion of the client. So each one will be totally different and unique. And the idea is, was based off a paper put out by Kotler. And it's your 3 passions.
Yep.
And then you think of something that you want to be involved in, or an aspect of society or the world you want to be involved in. And you just pop that in the middle, like a little note.
Write it down?
Yeah, small little affirmation.
Pop it in the box.
Put it on and have a little thing.
It's like a centering thing. It's almost meditational.
Totally, yeah. It's you know, deep thinking. It's a trivial way to bring about deep philosophical concepts.
Sometimes we need a little bit of trivial to be able to remember to do the philosophical.
And look, it's weird, and if it gets people talking about philosophy, then I'm happy.
I struggle with associating with myself being an artist. I definitely have a problem with it because of the flack that people get when they say they're an artist, you know, especially in Brunswick. You know, everyone's an artist in Brunswick. But yeah, I guess when it comes down to it, I'd have to say, yeah, I'm an artist that just acquires just the skills that I need to make the piece. I'll just learn it as I go. I don't have any formal training except for environmental engineering, which hasn't really helped.
Before I leave, what are you going to do with this?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So,
what is this?
It's an exhaust, part of an exhaust system.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
Can you take it?
No worries.
So what is it going to become when you're finished?
Yeah, so I'm just going to clean up all this here, bring it back to the bare metal, apply a bit of a brassing agent to it there with a heat technique, cut away some of the scrap, and then we'll turn it into a light.
We'll just turn it into a light. Yeah. I can't wait to see what that's going to look like. I'm going to let you get to it.
No
All right,
worries.
thanks for showing me around.
Yeah, catch you around.
Passion is paramount. That's exactly why I do what I do. I could have been doing other jobs with you know, far better pay, but there's a definite thrill when you're on a roll and you're coming up with a design and you just keep going, oh, I could do that, oh, and then I could do that. Then you've got to actually make it, and that's when it gets serious. I think as far as pure joy comes, it's definitely that moment when you just turn it on, everything works, there's nothing's wrong. It's like, oh, it's worth it.